why don't you tell me where Cherophobe came from?
I try to think of the nicest way to put this without being so downer. It was me trying to talk myself out of killing myself. I think I sat down and I started writing, and it was just like this weird. It was a weird way of having a conversation with myself, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I don't know why. It was just like one of those stream of consciousness things. I was just writing for hours until I had like a huge chunk of it. I'm trying to think of what point. How did it get into your hand? You remember?
I think by the time you sent it to me, you said, "Hey, I had this thing that you might want to film." So probably you'd been thinking about it or dealt with it for a while before you ended up sending it to me, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it went through some policies and stuff, and but yeah, I think we had because we've collaborated several times before, and you were just getting into filming stuff with the Stravonger Film Club, and we worked on a couple things there, and we should talk about that. The space that you had that ended up being the writer's apartment. It's just beautiful space that you had that came up, and then yeah, I think I don't remember exactly how to do it. I don't know if I pitched it to you, or if it was just something like we talked and it was just like, hey, I got this in case you want to do something with it, or
Sometimes I get sent things by people, and uh, it's always very bashful, or they're very kind of they pretend to be offhand about it. You know, they're just, "Well, I don't know, I just got this thing. Maybe you want to do something about it," and they don't know to admit like. It would be so cool if you could do something with it. And I think you sent it to me with that same bashful energy. But I thought
probably.
but Bo gets a pass there, like because I love Bo, like, and I know it will be great. So of course I will consider. And in this case, I'm honored, and um, I would love to be a part of it. I don't think. I mean, I knew it was about you being very sad, and I knew it was based on that. I don't think I knew it was as direct as a kind of as a type of suicide note,
Yeah, because
and
it could
its
have been a little
opposite.
bit like I did not. I just yeah, but I'm glad I did it obviously because I'm
Hmm.
here. But yeah, it was. I can just tell you were like really thirsty, like you still are now, about like just making films. Like you just want to keep making stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like I had indirect permission to kind of pitch you. It's like, hey, well, if you got something you want to film, this would be really easy to film. There's only because my plan was, wasn't even like one person on screen until I think you were the one that had the genius idea of like, oh, I'm going to actually film. Well, the actress that ended up being
With
Rebecca.
Rebecca, yeah, I think so, and I think we managed to, I think we managed to avoid the dead wife cliches, but it is funny to see them circulate on TikTok now, where people are on holiday on the beach and they're like, "This is excellent dead wife material," which is very funny. But it's we did a little tour with Rebecca around the city, the a few hours that she was free one day, and found a lovely window in Old Stavanger where there's lots of shops, and I said, point to these little clay plates and things and talk about where you think they might be good. Uh, like you would buy these for the home, or you would buy like these you would use for cakes or something. Just to improv about that. So she's very good at improving into the camera with prompts and stuff. And I think we both wanted Sam in the role of the writer straight away as
Yes,
well.
yeah, because once the idea was to actually, when it was clear that we were actually getting kind of serious about filming, I was
Hmm.
just like, let me rework it, like, because I won't Sam because he'd been so good in all your previous films. Plus, he's really good with monologues. That was very. There's these long passages where he's just it's all him. I knew it had to be somebody that was comfortable doing that and that could do it where it actually sounded more natural. And they didn't sound like they were just reading, you know.
Well, I mean, working with me usually means an intense amount of dialogue, because I love dialogue. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, it is cheap, of course. It's just a person talking, but there's nothing more exciting than to me than like the interchange between characters and like the power changes and how they learn different things about each other very rapidly through an exchange of conversation. And this film certainly has that. It's so much about the deepest thing, which is like it's the deepest thing. It's a person trying to talk themselves down from a ledge. It's like I don't know if you've read The Myth of Sisyphus, the Camus book, but I think the first line is something like, "There's only one question of philosophy worth discussing, and that's whether or not," and that is suicide. So it gets right to the deepest problem straight away, and then within an hour's space of time, you see somebody walking back from it. And the amazing thing is that this is so common, isn't it? That when people get into the depths like this, if they just find anyone to talk to, even a little bit, not even necessarily about the problem that they're having, they can be walked back from those emotions, I find.
No, yeah, it's about reaching that kind of. I've talked to you about it before. I think we were talking about it last time we chatted. I've talked about this with Renee too. It was sometimes it's not about getting happy. It's about just getting to normal. She can get out of the negative zone, get to this nice even base level. You feel 1,000 times better, and things don't feel so grim. So it's not about like being happy. And I think that's where a lot of people who are suicidal feel shame or fear about talking, because inevitably somebody, they either can't understand why they can't be happy, or they just suggest like, well, we just got to get you happy. What would make you happy? And it's not about being happy. Nobody's happy 100% of the time. So it's a hard thing. It's just about getting out of the dirt of it, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've certainly felt pretty low myself, and I think that you just get stuck on constraints. I like to think of it that way. There's certain truths about life that will never stop being true your entire life. For some reason, they don't affect most people, but when they affect you, or when you can't stop thinking about them, you just need to be heard, I think. I don't know. Like, I start to think about how life is meaningless, and everything will all become dust, and nobody really knows one another, and for some reason, all those terrible things are just fine when you're fine. It's like, that's alright,
Yeah.
Life's meaningless, that's cool. Just gonna go to the shops. It's like, it's the thing that depressed people, the thing that's so difficult to argue with depressed people is they're right. They're totally right. At least I find. They don't need to be, it's the isolation of it, the loneliness of it is one of the worst parts of it.
The writer's brain, like, I mean, there's a reason that it is kind of like a weird stigma with writers and being depressed and stuff. I think people that are depressed and suicidal, it's not that they're not focused or very narrow minded on bad things. It's that they're overthinking all the details, and many of those details are just out of your control anyway.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've done that, where it's just again, the writer's brain. You overthink everything.
Yeah.
I think they've talked about how, I mean, there's the old Simpsons joke about Lisa with her happiness graph. The smarter you are, the happiness goes down. But people that are down and depressed and stuff, I think they have done studies where their intelligence or their emotional quota or capacity for understanding, empathy, all these things, they're off the charts, because they're very self-aware of everything around them, and they notice all the details, but they're so focused on it, and that a lot of people just don't hone in on that stuff. So
I understand that. You're just a hugely empathetic person, and I think that it's not necessarily a pro-social skill all the time. A really strong awareness of the world is an enormous blessing for an artist, a huge curse when it comes to their longevity and often their ability to connect, because you get stuck thinking about things that people don't want to talk about, and then that loneliness amplifies, and the loneliness is a killer, I think, and that which is so displayed beautifully in the film. It's a nice reflection of what I learned from the filmmaking club, which is that I just needed a social outlet, and that's mostly why I started it. I started one based on film because there wasn't one, but then I soon found that the real Stavanger filmmakers was the friends we made along the way.
I do. I love all the. I hope people, if there's anybody new to this, they should go through the back catalog, because the short films and stuff are really funny and clever, and you actually could see, you could just tell, like, you and Tom and everybody, like, he was like, okay, this is good, but what more can we do? What more can we do? What more can we do? To the point where you actually went and filmed a movie, which was great. Searching for Veslemoy, go watch it now.
Yeah, you can. It's on the F Awesome app, because these film hub distribution things are so out of people's hands. I'm really glad with this one we just released it on YouTube, because I think Faceboy did well. It got I think it had over 10,000 views. I hate metrics. I can't look at them because it's a bit like gambling. You know, whatever money you get, you just like, oh, I got $5. Well, it's not exactly $6, is it? I can just turn them sour very fast, and the same with reviews. Faceboy did well, but then we decided, well, if it's going to get this many views, and I think mostly because I set up a Google ad for it, we thought, well, why not just get those views ourselves on our own channel, if there's any. Capitalize on that attention in order to build an audience for future works by keeping them in one central place. So I think if I was to put a film on YouTube, before having gone through that process, I might find it like a cop-out, or like I hadn't really tried other things first. But it's with great confidence that I put Cherophobe on our own channel, because I know that that is the best place for it.
No, I'm glad you did. Also, I had the same fears too, but I remember that was the initial pitch of it anyway. It was just, let's make it and then we release it for free. Either Suicide Awareness Day or World Mental Health Day. One or the other, doesn't matter.
But let's talk about collaboration, because you were very easy to collaborate with, and you gave me huge leeway to interpret your work.
Oh no, it's just I was very impressed, because when you were gung ho and it was kind of clear like we were going to do this, I was like, yeah, I trust you, go. And then you came back and you had these like immaculate storyboards, like each little frame, like everything down to the second. And I was like, geez, dude, okay, I guess you are serious about like wanting to do it. But it did pay off, because there's some great shots, and nothing is. I actually watched James Gunn talking about this the other day about how he can't stand. He's absolutely right, though. I've never noticed like how frequent it is. How when two people are having a conversation, anything, like the camera is it's a two shot. It's always a two shot. They never move, and they don't do anything interesting. Or this movie, that it would have just tanked if it was just couple shots. So you had to really get inventive, considering that the other person in the conversation is not there at all.
Hmm.
So I was really impressed with the storyboards and the setups, and then of course, with Omar coming in and doing his magic too, coming up with some really creative shots. Yeah, I was just super impressed. Especially, I told you the shot where they're looking. It looks like you're looking through from the roof. I still don't quite know how you did it, but I was like, surely they go up on the roof. Did they go up on the roof?
Do you want me to reveal the magic?
Kinda, yeah. Okay. I know Nolan's like, don't reveal anything about movie making.
No, I mean, I think that my heroes are people like the Duplass brothers or Joe Swanberg, or people who let you see their progression, and it's a very raw thing for me to show. Like, this is literally the best I could do. Doesn't this suck? Like about many things I've made in the past. I'm like, I was in my 30s. I've been writing for years. I'd been thinking about filmmaking like non-stop for years before I made this. Look at this piece of shit. Like, this is literally the best I could do. That's a very vulnerable thing to do, but that's why it's the biggest gift, I think. But
yeah.
So with this one, you're right. Like, I mean, I think we'd done Faceboy, and I managed to make that as exciting as I could in the space. But I really understood the principle of, if it's one guy talking in the room, it's not that the camera needs to move around, but it would be a huge loss if it didn't. Yeah. And it's a way of punctuating certain thoughts as well, because if he's feeling vulnerable at a particular moment in the chat, then you can have him in the corner and things like that. So, but anyway, back to the window. There was a step ladder, and there were clear plates in the sink. Omar was up on a ladder with the camera pointing at Sam, with a clear glass plate in front of it, and
a plate.
Yeah, I think he'd like sprayed some. We put like a little bit of water on it, and somehow maybe I held the plate, because he had the camera and he also had his iPhone shining on it from this side, because he noticed that the droplets, you couldn't see them unless some light source was shining on them.
Okay.
So I think I must have been holding the plate, because then he held the iPhone and the camera, and Sam acted, and then just at the right, we got very lucky that droplets started to go by and you could see them lit up by the iPhone.
So good.
And then for the sound design, the constant rainfall is muffled through, as if through a wall, in the EQ for most of the film, but for that shot I took the muffling off so you can hear it as if you're outside for that moment.
Oh, that's really clever.
So it's nice. It's really nice to think about these things. It's just the absolute dream team. Like, since that since we made that, which was that 2023? 2020? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if people knew, like, it's been kind of like a mostly finished day for a good bit.
Yeah.
We've watched it probably countless times.
Always you end up doing, yeah, but it's always a joy to
Yeah.
watch this one, and it's so easy to recommend to people as well because, like you say, Omar had all these fancy lights, and was able to work really fast as well, like me, which I love. I need people to move quickly, and I need people not to be precious about their particular discipline, which can be very annoying with cinematographers because they can go like, I need an extra like half an hour to make this the way I like. And you're like, yeah, but nobody else can be bothered waiting for that. And it's disrespectful to the contributions they're making to think that you get all the time you need to do your thing perfectly. And they've just got to wait for it. It's not realistic. And it doesn't matter as much as you think it does either. Whatever small detail they believe they need to make their image perfect is just not important either. So Omar was able to work very, very fast, but that's not to say that he wasn't very particular about the shots either or the lighting. I think there's one shot where Sam's lying down on the couch and Omar's up on a step ladder holding the camera, and he wasn't even saying anything, but he was just in that kind of mental loop that he was like, I was like, what's going on, Omar? He couldn't even articulate what he didn't like about it, but something was just not working. I was like, right, well, you've got 30 seconds and then you're going to press record. And I don't think either of us could tell you what was so wrong about that shot in his mind, because it doesn't even stand out as particularly good or bad compared to the others. But it just worked so beautifully, all of us, that team.
Can I ask? I wanted to ask about the. This is one of those things that I thought was super brilliant. It was not written because, as written, it was kind of just standard. But the scene toward the end where he actually texts her, it was literally either, I think it was going to be narration or we might do text on screen.
Yeah,
which has become like the new standard. You guys had that brilliant idea. I would love to know, how did that originate to have him actually step out of the space, which is a beautiful utilization of that space, the area that you got to film in, and have him visually and audibly address the viewer as if they were her. And I was just like, that's so good. That's such an inspired choice. I've never seen that in a movie. So I would like to know how that happened.
Sure, it was
that wasn't storyboarded either, too. So.
No, it just evolved out of our creativity on the day. Actually, I'd been thinking about it kind of in the back of my mind. I think that was day 3 out of 3 days filming that we did that, and I'd been thinking maybe he would talk to the mirror because there's a mirror in that wall that he's.
Yes, that's facing, right.
Yeah,
that was in the storyboard, the mirror.
Yes, but I think that I don't know why that became him talking directly into the camera, but technically speaking, it isn't so interesting to let texts go on the screen. Also, because it's such a pivotal moment as well in his evolution that he gets to the stage that he can say this, and then also that I really love the kind of dreamlike notion where he's texting on the phone, but then you see him stand up and walk through the room, so it's both a text and a speech. And it's so kind of liminal in that area. It's just this big black room with white curtains. I must have been watching Twin Peaks: The Return for the 3rd or 4th time, as always.
Yeah, you should have filmed him talking backwards. Poor Sam, if he had to learn a monologue backwards.
That would have done it.
He would have done it, though.
It's done it, yeah.
He would have done it.
I think that was maybe the 3rd take. And then actually in the first draft of it, he did walk backwards out of the room. And it looked really cool. He walked in, he said the speech, and then when he was done, he walked backwards and then through the curtains again. And Tom really loved that when he saw it in the first draft. But I said, but then we went and filmed that beautiful shot of Rebecca, and I thought, I love this shot more, and so we lost the clip of Sam walking backwards out of the room in order to make room for that Rebecca shot. When it came to this, if I can replace something with something better, I'm always happy to do that, because or with something more compact as well. Like if I've got Sam talking over a new beautiful image, then we're getting the image and the speech at the same time. I like compressing things.
It's a beautiful. I told you, I think it's my favorite shot in the movie. It's the one of her, like, because you can just, the lighting is it's so fucking perfect. Where you can make her out, and you can just make out the features of her face, where you can tell she's smiling, but it's just barely there.
And again, that was
It's
part of
good.
the day of walking around with Rebecca, and we just saw the light, and we were walking past those hearts tied to the tree, and then I said to Omar, "Oh, let's get a shot over here." And then I think both of us at the same time were just like, "Why don't we get a shot where the light is, cutting our face?" And we were just like, oh, "We're so vibing amazingly." We like fist bumped. We're like, "This is so great." It was so lovely the way that worked.
Fantastic shot.
But it was the dream team assembled, and then it just floated away again. I thought after making Cherophobe, great, well, let's make 12 more of these this year, where we write something and then we find a space and one person's acting. Timing wise, it didn't work out for anyone, and I lost touch with some of them. And so Cherophobe over time has become even more valuable to me on account of the fact that I couldn't make it now. And I don't, and it contains kind of magic that nobody can reassemble again. It's just this beautiful point in time where everything aligned.
There's a lot of modern directors that do that, and they do have the ability to stay with those people, and they have money to facilitate it and make it happen. And that's really the motivation. It's like, or what they call hangouts. It's like it's an excuse to hang out with their friends and stuff. Notoriously, people, prime example, a lot of people use Tim Burton. He always it's always Helena Bonham and Johnny Depp, and he always uses the same people and the same thing. And none of those movies are really they don't feel inspired. So I think even if you could facilitate that, you just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you do want to know, but like I mean, how many people have we worked with and not worked with over the span, just outside this movie and in our own personal lives, worked with, and then everything was exciting. You think it's going to last a long time, and then it's just gone, and you don't work with those people anymore.
That's a very good point. I think that is an interesting lesson, and over time you stop taking it personally, and you
Yeah,
can. I think you can build a surprising resilience to it as well. Like when when somebody stops texting me, I'm like, "Oh, we're doing this again. All right, cool. I'll go out and make a new friend." It's like off we go again. All right, cool. So yeah.
Well, it's funny because that's how I feel. That'll bring me to the topic of, because I think for me it was working with the people in the gray rooms. I really enjoyed that for when it was, but that crashed hard.
Oh, I didn't
Without
know
going
that.
into detail, people can look that up.
Yeah.
But I loved working with those people so much. So that's where the idea to bring Alistair to come in and do the voice work, because I loved Alistair so much. I just wanted an excuse to work with him. And I was like, I don't know if he'll do this. He's doing like video games and stuff, and I was just like, he might not want to do this. But I got lucky. He said, yeah, because y'all were. I love you guys, but y'all were kind of like, you should play the voice of that. I'm like, no, I think I really want Alistair. I just hope you'll say yeah.
Oh no, it was a brilliant choice for the voice. He has a lovely, reassuringly paternal tone.
Yeah, I never did ask him where he pulled that, because I loved him because he had done the gray rooms and stuff, but they had done this really nice thing where out of the blue they surprised me and they wanted to do just to kind of do like a flex, I guess, to see what they could do to use it as like promo stuff. They did the intro chapter to Year 47. The intro chapter is Lucifer. It's actually the devil, but like the angelic version. And it's like, we could get Alistair to do it. I'm like, are you really? And then he did it, and I was just blown away by that. If I had the money to like do like a full cast audiobook of Year 47, I would absolutely pull him in, because I would love to hear do my favorite chapter, which is just a conversation between two people. And he played it so well because because you were the temp voice, right, for the film.
Yeah.
So he was just working off that, and he's having to basically do the old school anime thing about making himself fit but making it feel natural.
Oh right, he worked off for timing of the film.
Yeah. So of course, but that's why he's a voice actor. He's skilled at doing that, and he did it. I can't think of enough. I love his voice so much, and it sounds so good with headphones. I don't know if people have listened to Cherophobe with headphones, but you should, because his voice is it's like coffee. It's very good.
It's lovely, yeah. You do some voice work in the film, though, in the end.
You did talk me into it. I didn't. I was like, I don't know. I'll record it for you, but I hope you use Alistair, because Alistair did record the poem at the end. There is recording of it. Yeah, you were like pretty adamant about like, I want you to read it, so I did a couple takes and I sent it to you, and you did use it, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, this was a labor of love, and there's just love all around, and you deserve to have a share of that, and I think the audience deserves to hear from you when you have such a personal story and we get to hear your lovely accent, which is exotic the world round, I would say.
I appreciate it because I've heard even me I don't like the sound of my voice. Plus, I've gotten made fun of it several times. It's one of those things. So just to know that somebody actually likes it, it's cool. But the whole experience was more than enough for me. The fact that you even if you had just wanted to do it and never filmed it, that would have been great. That would have been enough for me. I think just the fun of talking about it before we even did it, I was like, this is exciting. I'm glad somebody likes it.
Yeah.
Well, especially you because you know how I have like the core group of friends that I still love talking to, and I look forward to chats. And it's like you and it's Medina, and it's because we all have the same kind of just that mentality about the world. We just kind of I think you guys are very kind-hearted people. I'm not saying whatever. I'm a very flawed person, but I do find you Medina to be very kind-hearted people, and I love your work. And I think we have very similar writing styles, and we have our same patterns about droughts and yeah. So it's fun. It's fun working with you guys. So again, just the idea of working with you guys was pleasure enough, and then just have Sam say yeah, and then come do it after watching many of your films. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. And then you got the idea that you wanted to actually, because I don't know people in the script. It was just her, just the one line of dialogue, but you never see her. But you wanted to bring in Rebecca. I was just that was exciting because she was so funny and Veslemoy. And I was just like, wow, this is just I'm just so blessed to have all these people. And then of course Alistair came in, said, yeah. I was like, this is I'm good, man. This is gonna be great. If nobody else watches this, I'll be fine. Yeah. And AI can't do that. Can't just type stupid prompts in AI and get me that, can I?
No.
Losers.
No, it's just like the pinnacle of indie movie magic, which is like when you see amazing chemistry on screen because you know that it's real friends making it. That to me is really thrilling, and that is something that only indie films can do. It's just a complete, obvious passion project through and through. It's the highest possible quality we could have made it. It's the easiest thing I can recommend to people to watch. And I love you and Medina too. I love doing life alongside you both. And we voice the same struggles. We have a similar sense of humor about it as well, which is nice. I have more to ask you about, but I know Tom would feel left out if we didn't mention his music, or that it was.
Oh, absolutely, because yeah, okay. So I'll do my side real quick, and then you can talk about because you obviously you work for Tom way more close. I had wanted. There's a friend of mine, Sean LaChance, Canada. Hey, Sean. In case you get to see this, great musician. He's in a lot of good bands. He's done a lot of original music and stuff, and I wanted him to do it. I'd always just thought like, oh, he could do this, but that kind of fell through, and he couldn't do it at the time. And I was like, oh no. But of course, you had Tom in the holster with his musical background and stuff, and I was slowly introduced to Tom's music. Obviously, he's clearly talented, but I'd only seen him do like little snippets, and then of course his fucking hilarious joke and that improv guitar joke in Searching for Vesemboy. It's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in a movie. So yeah, just him wanting to come on board and do it, and then we just started having a conversation about like certain things. And I'm glad, not that I don't love Sean, but I'm glad that it worked out because I know Sean did a lot of. Tom did a lot of. He did like a lot of synth stuff, very ethereal things, and some of those things just play so good. But the one I use a lot, even for when we're doing promos and stuff, is that what is it? The voices are here. Is that the name of that track?
Okay.
The voices are back. That's so good. And he's got some. You can tell he's got some. He's very 80s composer influenced. But there's like synth scores and stuff. What is it? I want to say it wrong. Vangelis.
Vangelis. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the Blade Runner score, like all those. Like,
oh yeah.
You can tell he's got that going on.
Yeah, that's an obvious reference point for him. Yeah, yeah.
But yes, Tom. How did Tom fall into the job of doing the score?
He loves to make music for films. He loves being involved, and so I think I probably asked him first. And you had a very different vibe in mind for the music from me, and Tom was. You were both kind enough to defer to me. My reference is in the color scheme of the thing and the music was similar to like the indie references I like. The Last of Us I'd seen recently, the first season of. I played the game and I liked the intimate idea of it being the type of instrument that you might have in the corner of the room that one of your friends would be able to play, and it was of that skill level as well because it was a self-expression. I'm half making this up as I say it. I hear now, but I believe it. Well, it wasn't to say that was in my head, but now hearing it, that's what I do like about it. I would say that.
You believe it? It is true.
Sure. Yeah, I think it required a real gentleness, solitude. That's what the music did for me. As well as the kind of melancholy of there's some kind of guitar refrains in Synecdoche, New York, which I know we both like.
Oh, yeah, the confident fan.
Kind of counterpoint, I think, and it was meant to complement what's happening on screen. It wasn't meant to. We weren't meant to be like listening to Sam breaking down, just be like, what is this banger going on beneath that? Well, I'm going to look that up on Shazam, while I'm watching this film. It was supposed to just complement what was going on, because I know that Tom has a lot of musical theory that I don't, and had ideas about how guitar riffs are not supposed to exist in a vacuum. And they don't in this case. They exist alongside a film. They're to score what was happening, which they largely do. Our process is just like Tom sends me a bunch of tracks and I see if they fit under what I've already made. And then if a scene of mine turns out a bit longer than his track was, then I ask him to make it 2 minutes instead of 1. So it's very kind of, you find that in the arts, don't you, that there's a magic about it and there's a workman-like technical aspect to it as well. So it's a kind of...
Yeah, kind of tailoring it for you.
Yeah, there's a blunt mixture of the two. So that worked out nicely. He's a very versatile musician, and he was able to give us exactly what we needed. And
yeah, again, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Like, I don't think Sean and them would have delivered like a terrible
no
score or anything. I think it just would have been different. And it's like yeah, of course, you defer to you because you're the director. I'm not gonna. Can you imagine me backseat long distance direct like the ego?
I can, because that's...
like, no, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because that was happening to me at the time. Did I tell you that? That was another reason this film was rewarding to me. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give anyone involved any more of my fucking time. Oh my god! But that whole year I spent trying to make a script that was sent to me by somebody who invested money in it and was the backseat directing it from the US. So I was filming it while he was asleep, and then I would send him bits that he objected to and said, like, you need to reshoot this. Be like, what the fuck? And me being a kind of nervous people pleaser, I was like, and I'd signed a contract about it as well. I was like, am I in legal trouble if I don't make my friends go back to this place and spend like 5 seconds longer on this particular take? And how do I get out of this nightmare? Because why can't this guy see that unless he was here directing it himself, this is going to keep happening every time I sent him a clip, So it was a huge relief to me that I had a good collaboration with somebody else to prove to myself that I wasn't the fucking problem.
It's so funny how you got the experience. I think people who don't, if you work in the arts and you try to, I'm not saying like, look, we're better than anybody, but it's funny how it doesn't matter on any level. It's all the same. All the stories that you hear. It's like you basically did a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, you know what it's like to have somebody like, we're funding it as producers. We got the money and it's us. So you got to do it this way.
Yeah. It was nice to do it at a level where luckily I got out of that project without there being any legal repercussions or losing too much cash. It was just a lot of time and a lot of emotional stress. It was a great learning lesson for me, and apparently I, like many other people, can only learn by making my own mistakes, and so I made a great one there, I think. But then for this film to come in and demonstrate really the heights of what we had built was really healing to me. It came at exactly the right time, and I was so pleased to work on it in the midst of the horrible stuff that was going on elsewhere.
Hey, can I speak as somebody on my end? I think it's fun. Because I know I've heard about that's the common writing experience. Fortunate enough to get somebody adapts one of your books into a movie and stuff. It's pretty much going to be the same experience. You're not going to get to be there on set, and even if you write the script for the movie, like most of these people, it's a gift to be on set.
Oh yeah.
A lot of times you sell something and you just wait. So I knew it was going to be more rewarding if I'm just like, you guys do just have at it. I know I trust you. I think that's probably the big issue though, in that trust. I trust you. I know I've seen what you guys could do, and I just trusted you, and I let you use like just do the script. You just do whatever, and then I sit back and wait, and then I get like a unique experience to watch it the way, at least close to the way other people get to watch it. So
Yeah, that was lovely. That it made it a very easy collaboration, and one that obviously seems to have pleased both of us. But you're right that
mm-hmm.
that does kind of entail a bit of sacrifice on the writer's end, and I appreciate that you were able to make that because no, it didn't come out the way you had in mind. It came out the way I had in mind, or as close to it as I could throw all of these ideas together and capture them as best I could.
Yeah,
But you have to ask, I think, if you're sending something for somebody to adapt, what did they get out of it? How did they get to be creative upon what you've made? And if they can't, what's the point? It's an assembly line job, it's not a creative job. And the same goes with I think the actors and stuff, like Sam and Omar, who was not just like cameraman but also a kind of acting partner, did Meisner techniques in the morning where Sam would talk to. I can't remember. I think Sam was talking to his dad the first day. That was the first improv exercise they did. Then the second day it was he was talking to me and I was the voice. Then the third day he was talking to Omar who played the girlfriend, and he gave a different texture to his performance each day. That he had a different relationship in mind. That it ignited in his head the type of space and creativity and imagination that allowed him to act. And your job is just kind of facilitate that or elicit it, but not to control it.
I
And
think
I'm
it's a
glad.
fascinating approach too to kind of integrate, mesh, weave together, like just to have not that because Omar's doing acting and stuff too, but even if it wasn't that, just to have him in that mindset, that's a very cool, fascinating approach, which I guess you can only get on a indie film too, which is such a small. Everything's so intimate. Everybody's able to communicate with one another, and I could just tell you guys were having fun when you want like for such a movie that's kind of about like a dark subject matter. Like I could tell that everybody was very much in harmony working on that.
Yeah, I think I hope we kind of dissolved a lot of the loneliness that was going through that character's mind by demonstrating that we're just like 4 or 5 people in this city who've met through this filmmaking thing that we do from all kinds of different backgrounds. Omar's from Egypt. Rebecca's lived here her whole life. Sam is
Mm.
half Dutch, half English. But we can all relate to this. And Thomas, of course, from Newcastle and did the music and everything. I think I've credited everyone on my sides. But yeah, we all understood what this character was going through, and we all could see that talking his way out of it was a good solution, but that it was a difficult one, and that it was not a pleasant one. So we relate to why somebody wouldn't do this as well. But Sam, I'm so glad he was there to do it because there's something so sympathetic about him on screen that you really wish him well, and you root for him as this character does the heroic thing, which is to hold himself accountable, which is how he escapes the mental space that he's in, as I understand it. Maybe you have some comments about the story arc.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. Obviously, we got to. Writers were always a little apprehensive about talking about like what were we trying to actually say, but I think it is important in this case. You get the nail on the head. It's about accountability, and the backdrop of that was going through a rough patch in a relationship that I didn't know was going to work out. I really wanted it to, but I didn't know if it was going to. Luckily, it has. We're still together. Everything's great, but it was really rough and it to reveal the kind of truth about that, it was something she actually did say. It was about the being holding yourself accountable and not for your own happiness because it's really hard to keep each other afloat like that if you're just taking each other's happiness or you're letting other people or other things take it from you and nobody is ultimately responsible for making you happy or getting you to a point where you're content except yourself. That's your responsibility, and that's a tough thing to have to acknowledge. I still have trouble with it. there's always those moments. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, where you just feel like it's unfair, and the world should work like this, and it's unfair, and I don't understand, and that's just the fucking that's just the way it is. It's just too many little fine details, and everybody's in control of their own destiny, and you're in control of your own path. So the big thing is, it does come with your happiness. You can't let people. I don't think happiness gets stolen. That's a hard truth, but it's nobody can steal your happiness. I don't think happiness gets stolen. You're allowing it to happen. It's like you're giving permission for this negative energy to fill up the space. And we all have these little empty spaces in us. They could be shaped like anything or any person or anything, but we choose what we get to put in there. So it's tough, and it's certainly a thing I still actively am working on at all times.
I completely relate to what you're saying. What I really love about America, and at least my time in as far south as I went, which was Virginia, was just this friendliness, hospitality. Now, listen, I dipped my toes in there for like a week both times. This is not the experience of living there at all, but culturally speaking, what I experienced was real kindness, curiosity. I mean, like when we went to Virginia, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the premiere of this film, which was in Virginia, which you and Renee almost came to, and that would have been so
Yeah.
thrilling. You can't have everything go perfect, and everything else was perfect. Like for fuck's sakes, you're not also going to get the guy and his girlfriends come and meet you in real life, and we'll just, I don't know what we would have done. I think the end credits would have rolled and we all hold hands and skip around, you
Yeah.
know?
Do the skip over the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been
Where we
fun.
just come over the hill and then down it.
And we're never seen again, you know? But that was. But that would have been great. But yeah, the South is like the kindness of friendliness, the optimism, the ability to share in somebody else's success. I mean, we went to the same cafe like each morning. By the second day, they were like, "Hi Tom, hi Leo, are you having that croissant with the latte again?" Not for a second has a single Scandinavian ever, nor will they ever, pay that much attention to me as a stranger. But that's how politeness operates here, is by leaving people to their own business. Um, which I've also enjoyed for a long time, because in Glasgow, where I'm from, you're everyone's friend, but everyone makes fun of their friends. So strangers make fun of you when they meet you. And I didn't like that either. There's something very conducive to dissolving a lot of mental health problems, I think, if you live in a place where people are positive and they're genuinely interested in you and happy to meet you. I don't experience American optimism as fake in the slightest. I think it's completely sincere, and I think it's a beautiful part of their culture, particularly in the South. And it was why it was great to have your voice in the film, and also it was great to give voice to somebody else's voice with this film as well, because my voice is spiky and intense and mean and cruel and upsetting, quite deliberately so all the time. But and it's fine. I mean, that's just how it works for me. But it was nice to give voice to something else with this film.
That. I think you're being too harsh. I think you have a. I don't know if you see it. I'll go ahead and pay you a big compliment. At least I hope it's a big compliment. You have this way of, especially your writing. This is why I enjoy your writing so much. Is you have this way of, things are kind of harsh and mean. They can be mean spirited and stuff, but your ultimate message is usually so kind. It's so kind hearted and optimistic, and you just have this way of, it's like I don't know. I guess it'd be the equivalent of, stop being so down on yourself, dickhead. It's that type of thing. Like it's that great buddy pal thing. The old harsh system. Like, stop being such an asshole, and realize that I love you. That's what I get out of your stuff.
That's nice. I appreciate that. I'm glad you can see that in it. I mean, as much as I try and see into the hearts of characters who've had horrible experiences, we're talking about how tough it is to be happy. And Jeremiah and I were talking recently about that expression, like the trauma was not your fault, but the healing is your responsibility. And that sucks. I completely believe that.
Really
that sucks. But a lot of problems are caused when people refuse to accept that. You do have a kind of personal responsibility to sort yourself out as much as you can. To quote Dr. Jordan Peterson before he goes into fungus-based coma or whatever the fuck has happened to him. But yeah, it's that's really difficult. I saw a friend recently who is going through a lot of stuff. I mentioned a quote from Sarah Paulson because I watched her talk about early auditions and everything, and she said, "Being a person is not for the faint of heart." I really believe that. Yeah, whatever circumstance you're in, whatever you're trying to deal with as a person, it's not easy being a person sometimes.
It takes a lot of energy. I'm sorry to do this again, but I know because we've had countless conversations, but this is why I love Superman so much.
Go for it.
And why I get frustrated about people that don't get it. I'm glad we finally got like James Gunn, like he got it. But just the idea that being good and being kind to people and being just a human being that takes it upon themselves to make the world a better place, it's not fucking easy. It's a choice to make, and so I do love that sentiment. That it's not just be a good human being, but yeah, it's just know it's going to take work, and I know it's what you were just talking about. It's funny how like even like self-help groups and stuff like that, it's always this idea of like, you must turn yourself over to a higher power. And what do most higher powers, religious texts, it's always like, God helps those who help themselves, and spiritual divinity and reaching nirvana and all that stuff. It's a one-man path, and you gotta make that journey yourself and stuff. Ultimately, even religion and God and all these things, they tell you like it's on you. You got to do this stuff. So it's at the end of the day, it's your responsibility, and that's like you said, it sucks to kind of be told like it's your responsibility. Nobody's coming to do this stuff for you, and there's certainly nobody that's going to come along as much as people think. There's somebody in power. I can control people and make them do what I want. Like, no. At the end of the day, everybody's responsible for themselves, and you got to do your part. That's what I try to tell people. At the very least, try to be good enough to compensate for the person, for yourself, and for another person that isn't nice. At least come up, 50 increase your chances of the world making it by that much. Just try and compensate for the other assholes that are being lazy and don't want to make the hard decisions about being a good, decent human being.
I guess that feels like that's part of the message of the film as well, but also I really relate to that message, and I think most people come around to that with time, or at least I certainly have. It's both hugely relieving and it's hugely humbling. What you say is like, listen, you're not going to... When I left university thinking I was going to change the world through, I don't know, energy optimization, or I can't even recall, I don't know, some sort of unique invention, like the next polio vaccine or something, I don't know. I'm going to save millions of lives, stick my name in history. But now you just come around to like, I'm going to look after my corner, which is on fire a lot of the time. Why is everyone setting fire to all the time? Why are you doing that? I'm going to keep putting out that fire.
Me?
Yeah. Fuck, what's that?
Why am I holding gasoline?
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone. This gasoline happened to me. It's not... Now that I've seen the gasoline can in my hand, it is my responsibility to set it down. So, yeah. It's...
you know what? It's on me.
Yeah. But it's that just makes me think of this story we've made and how conducive it is to this lonely corner of the planet that maybe one other voice is listening to, and maybe that voice isn't even there. But you still have to do the right thing,
Yeah. If anything, like I think the worst thing you can do is to feel guilt for something that personally I actually do deal with this stuff. I can think of many examples, but just to feel guilt for something that there's nobody to apologize to is something that you just feel bad about yourself. Okay, that's a real isolating feeling to not have a face to kind of be apologetic to. You talk about how like I think people need to realize that everybody has that feeling like, oh, I want to change the world in a better way. Newsflash for everybody: you're changing the world by existing. It's happening. You're doing it now. So why not actively try and make conscious decisions to do better? And even if it's just something small, and you're going to get sad, and it's going to... not every moment is... my friend sent me a really funny meme about like, you're going to be okay, everything's going to be fine. Not all the time. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You just got to come to terms with that.
I think that now I have a good relationship with myself. Like when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, hey, you're a cool guy. I'm glad to be alongside with you. There's another part that just goes, if I wasn't trapped in my head with you, I would not have bothered to create a relationship that's good with you. And then I'm just like, yeah, we're not going to think about that, are we? right, let's go to the shops together. It's like,
I just saw that Simpsons thing where he's like, "That's it, I'm out of here." Homer's brain just floats off.
yeah. I would have been the hell out of here if I could several times. I would not have made a nice space for myself in my own head if I hadn't had to. I have a horrible history of not having done that or stomping around the place, throwing shit about. But probably so does everyone. Now I don't know what the big deal was, It seems intuitive. I think it does get easier with time.
Yeah, it comes with the realization that there's a really good song by what was the name of the band? I think it's Truth Club. It's a really good song I love called "Not an Exit," and it's really does talk about. I mean, you can view it as optimistic or pessimistic. It's kind of funny how you can look at that song and go either way. But it's this realization that you can be this ungrateful tenant to your body. At the end of the day, like you can't. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck with yourself. Ultimately, like not even suicide and stuff. It's not an answer to anything. It's not like you get to kill yourself and you're like, oh well, here's an upgrade. It's not like trading in a phone or something. We don't know what the fuck happened, so that's not a real solution. So ultimately, you really do just got to work with what you got and you know use your feelers, feel around.
But I think that when you do work with what you've got, and when it works out, such as in the case of a film like this, it can be more rewarding than you even thought possible as well. You'll find
Is that why there's a focus on the credits? Because I thought that was a really neat choice as well. They include the photographs.
yeah, definitely. I think it's a concerted effort to share credit and to emphasize the handmade nature of it as an advantage, and to show it as a documentation of a great time that everyone had. And Jarla, who was at the club, got me that camera. He made everyone chip in for it for, I think, one of the club's anniversary for my birthday that year. And so I just wanted to use it as well because I always liked photos taken with that of friends. There's something about that quality that makes you think like, oh, that would have been nice to be there.
It's hard not to get emotional like looking at the photos of everybody, and
Yeah.
you kind of hear the music go out, and it just focuses on that last little isolated little outro of the thing. It's really good. Plus, the little stinger that you do. That are you still using? Was it a little segment from the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch too over the production thing.
I had to put that in for myself because I was like, still a little creepy.
Yeah, something about old cartoons.
Oh god, yeah. No, I'm so pleased
Yeah,
with it, and yeah,
me too. I could not be more. And plus, I just love seeing stuff you're just going next, and the stuff you've done since. Obviously, with Mr. Sleepy and
Cancel
you
Plans
know,
is the other one we did.
cancel plans.
Now I'm work.
That's getting ready to go out. Really good. Speaking of Tom and warn everybody.
Yeah,
Really
I'm really pleased with that one, and I was pleased that your project could take advantage of all the skills that I had built up until making it, because I don't think it would have looked even the same a year before. There were all kinds of techniques we did, like when he's saying, like, no, there's still no plans for another book, and then he's looking at his books. If you were to map out the place, the geography of him looking at those books is actually impossible. We had to shift the table forwards and stick the books at the edge of the table when they're not there. But we'd done enough filmmaking to know that that would look okay on camera. And I love stuff like that where you're just like, which genius thought of doing that first? Because I'd never in a million years of filming, I would have been like, that is factually incorrect. We're not going to put the books there. When, it makes perfect sense. And I think we did the same for the gun. He looks back at the gun on the table and we put that in the foreground. But I don't think we had to move it then. But we cheated everything. We shifted the couches around and in all kinds of ways, or filming through the plate for the window and stuff.
so good.
And
should we mention the Easter eggs for the book? Although
please
I don't
do.
know because you can't quite see them, but
no,
I mean you can make out some of them, but there's no way you could like see all of them, and we wouldn't go like.
Well, they looked bad the way I had done them. I put them on old books, and you could tell that they were old, and the covers were kind of flapping above them, so you couldn't actually look at the books because I couldn't make those props look good, unfortunately. But if you want to include the images you used, or send them to me again. Yeah.
But there was like sincerely, there's no way to like shoot those or where we just had the you had the idea. It's like, can you make a bunch of fake covers for this. And I'm like, yeah, but we gotta do. So I think there's one for you, which use that cover, use that still image from one of your Stravanger films, which I love that image. You having to freak out.
That's great.
Yeah, a parody of Jesus the Scumberg, and then I did a parody of
Siphon.
Siphon, which was Draw by Amy Medina.
It was strong.
Draw, but yeah, Siphon by Amy Medina, and then I threw in Year 47 parody with
Month 44.
month 20, yeah, something like that. Month
Yeah.
22, 44, something.
Month,
Yeah,
maybe it's 22. Yeah.
I was just throwing little jokes like that. Yeah, I need to release those because those were funny little. Oh man. Well, looking back on the whole experience, not to usurp the Q&A, but looking back on the whole experience, what do you think the main takeaway from you is, like, about the process? Anything? What was the most rewarding thing? I guess I should say.
Literally everything about it. I think I came to Stavanger in 2019 after living in Oslo for a while. I'd still move around in an expat community, which means that people come in and out of the country and in and out of my life, and it's very unstable. And so when I came back in 2019, most people I knew had left the country. I needed to make new friends, and I don't do things at an easy skill level. So I was like, I'm going to make my own friends through a filmmaking club that I lead with no experience. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have met any of the people involved. If I hadn't written, we wouldn't be talking. And that space wouldn't have been used for that. That space, by the way, is Kunstrom Arbeit. It's an arts workshop. I'm so grateful to them to let me to use it. I was a member there, but they, I don't think I was even a member there when they let me do that. Like, I wasn't even paying for membership. I'm pretty sure they just gave me the codes. There's such generous people. Lots of talented artists are in that room. Very grateful to them for that. Wouldn't have met them if I hadn't gone there. It was just, everything was a brand new synthesis of new skills, new people, resulting in a use of a space that never would have happened otherwise if I hadn't consistently, day after day, built my skills, gone out the house, challenged that voice in my head that said this is pointless. Makes a great point when it comes to indie films. I'll give it that. Because pessimism is valid, right? Everything might not work out. You're absolutely right. The odds might be against you most of the time. But I tell you what, if you say, therefore, I'm not going to do anything, nothing definitely gets done. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, what's his name from The Office?
Michael Scott.
Yeah, there you go. 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. That's the quote from the whiteboard, right? It's a testament to not giving up in years of, and again, it culminates in this small scale film that I hope lots of people see, but you never know. It's not Furiosa or something, it's not on Netflix. It didn't involve a huge amount of people, but it was still a monumental amount of effort and skill building over a long time to make what it was, and it was worth it. So it's kind of proof of the philosophy that we're talking about now, and the amount of meaning is just priceless,
Yeah.
So I'll be forever grateful that everything aligned when that happened. And also this weirdly distant, I really am very pleased with it, and I'm struggling not to brag about it in a way, but I also don't take full credit for why it is so good either. There's some kind of magic about creation in all forms, whether it's writing or filmmaking or something. You talked about higher powers. I'm trying to think about higher powers a bit more now. I've been reading books about addiction and met some lovely Mormons yesterday who want to come and drop by some books. That's probably a waste of time on their part, but the notion of a higher power or there being something good about the areas of life that we cannot explain, that we can have faith in, does that make sense?
No, yeah, I totally subscribe to that idea. There is this kind of weird string of consciousness that we all are contributing to. I think even the most open-eyed people, we're only getting glimpses of just glimpses of a percentage of the way things work. We have no idea. There's some real magic going on. Because I don't think there's another word for it. You can call it religion and all this stuff. It's just whatever you want to say. It's just a weird magic. I kind of touched about that in the whole thing about the character asking himself if he's his own god, but it just goes back to the whole responsibility about yourself. I don't know. You don't get to choose the events in your life, but you can. I think they're kind of there to oh God, I'll just live from the Matrix again. You're not there to see, you're not there to make a choice. You're there to see why you made a choice. Like it's things happen to you, and then there's a reactive thing, and then that's where the little bits of magic come in. So I'm with you. I think it's just this weird. It's so great. Plus, didn't you film it over Christmas too?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about like not even for people. I mean, on both sides of that, there's something about the holidays that just unintentionally or whatever, it's just depressing. Except for God bless them, the people, your Hallmark channel, 24 hours. I love Christmas year round thing. That's great. I'm super happy for you, legitimately. But there is a thing where the holidays and stuff like that, it's a very reflective time about like the choices you've made in life, the people that are around you. You've got the new year coming up. Am I going to change things? Am I going to make this thing? And there's just so much weight that gets put on you, but you're putting the weight on yourself. I'm holding the gasoline can. It's that again.
Mm.
So I think something about that. I think everybody was just kind of just get the feeling like y'all were just kind of letting that stuff go and then focusing on just the people. That's where the real magic of Christmas comes in. That's always the message. The people that you're with. So I think that's another reason they get all kind of emotional about seeing the credits and stuff, and just hearing the stories about you guys, and everybody just had such a fun experience that was just captured on celluloid, digital celluloid, whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's not actual, but so I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. And I love that everything we had all these people from all these different parts of the world filming and contributing from different parts of the world too, just coming together on that. That's such a cool, neat. It just goes back to that idea like every movie is a miracle. It's a miracle, like just to get one done, just to see what you guys pulled off. Words on a page, handing it off to you, and then you guys turn it into what you did. And then Alistair coming in adding his voice, and Rebecca adding her face, and Sam adding his charm, and Tom adding his music. It's just everybody coming together, and then you just overlooking and facilitating stuff and making sure that everybody is okay and everything is lining up. It's really is this magic. It's great. And you're right. Like it's God, we could be like the most popular thing in the world. We could have like 1,000,000 views on this thing. There's still going to be people like they're just like I don't know. I haven't seen. There's just so much stuff out there. Everybody has the ability to go and make something fucking amazing. So I'm just happy if one person sees it and enjoys it. And I've already gotten feedback. I don't know about you, but I've already gotten feedback about it. And so I don't expect people to come up and oh, I watched it and you saved my life and all that stuff. But it would be nice to know that in the long run, we contributed to somebody being a little more content and finding joy in life where they didn't necessarily see it before because they took an initiative to not be so pessimistic and down on themselves and give themselves more value. Because the worst fucking people in the world, I know this sucks to hear too. The worst fucking people in the world, the person you can think of right now, you think is the worst fucking person in the world. They have value too.
Not my guy.
They've.
Mine's the exception.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. Of course, you make a lot of sense. Yeah.
But yeah, now at the end of the day, can that person bring the value? Can they actually they have a responsibility of value, but will they actually contribute it to the world, or will they transmogrify it into something else for their own benefit? Every person has the ability to do good. Even in the end, I think just don't want it to be that. And you want it to be. I don't know. It's hard. It's tough not to get sad on other people's behalf too, because I do feel sad for. Just like you said, I think you were talking about it a few months ago. There is something about you kind of feel this responsibility, like people that are pessimistic, and how it can be very taxing. There is a thing about where you feel there's a fine line you have to draw there about knowing when it's your responsibility to help contribute to that person's happiness or to try and solve their problems, and when to actually allow them to do it themselves. And I think that's a hard thing because like you said, some people just don't want to take the initiative. So
you also just think like if you have this blanket pessimistic attitude to everything, what difference would it make if your problems get solved or not? You're still going to hate everything.
Yeah.
I've started to try and imagine kind of golden screen come up between me and that person that deflects all of the horrible energy that they have. So I feel that way with me. Before I would have been like, oh god, this person's so pessimistic, and I've found a way not to be, at least in this moment. Then surely it's my responsibility to pass on some of my energy to them. But it's preserving your own energy is the most maximally kind thing to do for the world if you're in a place where you're with somebody who's not receptive to it at all, you know? Which is also tough, because like you say, if you can see the value in everyone, but they have to see it in themselves, don't they?
Yeah, very much so. And that's one of those things about like this taking the responsibility for yourself, because that's not just for your own benefit, but that is for the benefit of those around you that you do care about and you love. Like you can't. I mean, people have to do all the time with bad relationships and stuff. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Everybody's had some sort of bad relationship they've had to hopefully have the courage to step away from. Not everybody can, but everybody has been in a bad relationship with a family member, a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, where it's you just have to have the strength to just, as you say, this golden screen. Like I gotta put this up. I'm sorry. So the old, teach a man to fish and yada 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 and all that. But like, if the person don't want to fish, then how
How the fuck are they going to eat?
if they don't like fish, yeah, I don't want to fucking eat right now. I'm like, okay, well, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't stop him
Yeah.
complaining about the fucking water.
I said, just shut up and drink, all right?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Look at us with no notes, cover all bases. Too easy, man. Yeah.
We're 100%. We're great.
Golden.
I think it is important to know that. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all flawed, and we're all gonna fuck up. We're all gonna do something about it, though.
Consider this perspective we've talked about little flawed humans, even as open-minded as they are, only seeing a fraction of what's going on. It's not commentary on that you don't necessarily have all the tools in one moment to dig yourself out of whatever you're feeling. It's just a fact of being a human being. So you can try your very best and still be in this situation, and reaching out for help.
Absolutely.
Is like, there are trained professionals who have seen your situation before, and you have a voice in your head telling you that whatever's happening is unique to your circumstances, and it really isn't. I don't know what you're going through, and I don't know when it will end, but from my experience, people find in themselves a resilience they had no idea was there, that can weather almost anything that can be thrown at them. You'll find the strength to go on, and you'll find that you will go on beyond whatever this pocket of bad weather is.
That's what I implore to everybody. If you think it's bad and you think it can't get worse, and there's just everything is coming down on you, just wait fucking 5 minutes. Just give it 5 minutes. Just give it just a little bit more time, and don't be afraid. There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, your problems have a unique flavor, but they aren't a unique construct. There's no shame. There's no guilt. There's no anything involved that should keep you from just going out and asking for help from anybody. Just find the one person, and of course, somebody does love you. Everybody has value, and I love them to death. There's a good Batman Superman team up thing about there's a story called Public Enemies where Lex Luthor's president. The world is like great, everything's great and good, and Superman just does not. He's like, no, I know this fucking guy. Of course, Superman doesn't say I know this fucking guy, but he's like, no, I don't trust him. He's like, has it ever occurred to you that maybe he figured out that to get the love and respect that he needs, that he actually just figured out that he should just stop pretending and actually start doing good? And like, that's the easiest way to get things. If you want love and respect, just give it. You'll get it tenfold. Of course, in this case, Superman was absolutely right. Lex Luthor was up to something, but it didn't have to be that way.
Is there anything you want people to look up?
So all that's out right now is Devil Dancers. Did that with Medina. That's out. And actually, wait a minute. If I can get this without a library of things falling on top of me in boxes and Gundams and stuff. Okay.
Oh, nice. Our Big Fear is, yeah.
Yeah, Our Biggest Fears. That's actually out in an even more compact, honey, adorable size. You can get that. I'll try to have Year 47 and stuff back out.
Nice.
And I'm working on a short story collection. I got a bunch of stuff that either didn't get picked up by anybody or it got printed in things that are way out of print now, and or the stuff that got picked up through audio plays and stuff. I'm just going to put that in the collection. I'll try and have that out soon. And of course, there's just Cherophobe. If you've watched Cherophobe, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Leo. I tooted a lot of horns, but I hope you know that at the end of the day, like I appreciate your enthusiasm and your care that you put into it, and your heart, and just everything you brought to the table. It really, let's say, it wouldn't have got done without you. So thank you for giving everybody involved. It's like you're our microphone, and I appreciate that. And I love you. Love you to pieces, man.
Love you too, man. I really appreciate you saying that. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. I will stop the mic and then we can just chat about wherever the hell we want for a bit. That sounds good.
All right.
Cool.
No, that's good.